Sick of getting blisters? Stop slipping and just be comfortable with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Great fit, great comfort, lots of grip, and an even better price. Available now at puregripsocks.com.
These are the pros and cons of the Nike Phantom GX2 Elite. With the original GX being one of the most hyped up Nike boots of the 2020s, where its successor hasn't been as well received. So with that in mind, should the GX2 still be on your radar, or should you be looking elsewhere if control is your top priority? And really quickly before we get started, if you enjoy the pros and cons videos on the channel, don't forget to drop a like on this one and let me know which boots you'd like to see featured next down in the comment section. And of course, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you don't miss out on my reviews of all the latest football boots of 2024. Quite easily, the biggest reason why you would want to consider the GX2 is if you're somebody that likes having additional grip on the ball, where just like the original GX, this new model still features their grip knit material, which is effectively a sticky variation of Flyknit, meaning that as a base material, it's very sock-like in terms of its feel and pliability. Yes, it's on the thinner side like most Flyknit boots, but it does have some padding and general thickness to the material itself, making them feel extremely soft against your foot. And then of course on the surface, you have this almost soft silicone grippy texture to it that really does provide tons of additional grip on the ball, giving you this really nice sense of control. Unlike the original GX, they've also added in some kind of 3D texturing in the form of these ridges that run across the upper. Ultimately, in my opinion at least, not really doing all that much to enhance the experience of grip knit, but the fact that there is so much surface area left free of any laces, being that they're pushed to the outside, you really get this nice sense of control and just a clean touch overall. Yes, you could get extra grip from something like a Predator 24 with its rubber striking elements, but compared to those, the GX2 just feels so much more streamlined. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that these football boots will for sure improve your ball control, because I don't think that's the case with any football boots, but I do think that once you get a taste of this additional grip, it might be something that you just won't be able to live without anymore. However, as a major con, if you've had boots in the past that have provided extra grip and you just weren't a big fan of it, you are not going to have a good experience with the GX2. The grip knit upper provides enough grip to where if you are somebody that tends to really drag the ball, particularly when dribbling, the extra grip could cause you to slip up and basically trip, which is not going to happen to everybody. Again, plenty of people wear these and don't struggle with that whatsoever, but perception in terms of touch and feel is something that's very different for everybody, where again, if you like having more of a slick finish to the upper, this is pretty much the exact opposite of that and probably not for you. Options are always great to have, and just like the Mercurial series, Nike does give you the option of low cut or mid cut with the Phantom. However, the name does change. The low cut version is the GX2, the mid cut version is the Luna 2. However, aside from the addition of the mid cut Flyknit collar on the Luna 2, they are exactly the same. No difference in comfort, just a little bit of a premium to the price tag for the Lunas if you absolutely must have the collar. However, whether you go mid or low, just like most top-end models from Nike, the Phantoms are not cheap, with the GX2 Elite retailing for $260 and the Luna 2 Elite retailing for $285. But like I always tell you guys, you don't have to pay full retail. So whether it's the GX2 or the Luna 2 that you're interested in, you can pick them up below their normal retail prices by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes by checking out the links down below. While there are some little changes that I would personally make to the shaping, overall I find the GX2 Elite to be a very comfortable pair of football boots and a little bit of a callback to what Flyknit originally was when it was first introduced to the world of football boots, where I think one of the best comparisons that I could make would be something along the lines of that OG Magista Obra from 2014, in that this grip knit upper, effectively Flyknit, is super soft, super pliable, has that little bit of cushion to it against your foot, which I can really appreciate. Compared to all of the early Nike Flyknit models, the heel is significantly more comfortable and much softer rafter up top, kind of not having any structure, which is a trend that a lot of brands are going in these days. That I think feels fantastic. I love the heel liner as well. And generally as a whole, there's just not a lot about these boots that need to be broken in. I could do with the toe box being slightly wider, but at the same time, there's plenty of people that have these and love the way that they fit. It's one of those boots that is going to work for most foot types as long as you like that tighter fit through the toe box. And again, from a comfort standpoint, it's one of the most comfortable knitted upper football boots currently on the market. While I think the performance is actually really solid, the sole plate and stud pattern, or I suppose more so the tech behind it, is something that a lot of people were pretty upset with when it came to the GX2, in that this sole plate and stud pattern tooling carried over directly from the original Luna, which was not a particularly well-received pair of football boots. In the case of what you get here on the new GX2 with the FG layout, the sole plate as a whole feels very speed boot-esque in terms of having a little bit of a firmer feel through the forefoot, but generally something that I don't think stands out as being bad. And then with the FG stud pattern, obviously the standout feature here is the Cyclone 360 stud layout at the front, made up of these 5-bladed studs that are supposed to prioritize rotational movements, but as you'll find with just about any aggressive blade, which this has all the way through the entire stud pattern, is that it just ends up feeling very grippy and providing very aggressive traction where you really don't have that much freedom to twist and pivot, making this a much better comparison to something like a Mercurial rather than something like a Tiempo. Having said that, Nike have once again done a good job with this new Phantom lineup in terms of giving us options, because if the FG stud pattern just isn't your thing, you can opt for the AG Pro variation, which not only gives you a completely different stud pattern that is totally viable for use on natural grass as well as artificial grass, but you'll notice that the sole plate tooling reverts back to the original GX, which I think is one of the biggest disappointment that people have had with the FG version of the new GX2. So if you really want something that does legitimately prioritize rotational movements, the all conical studs of the AG Pro variation is definitely going to give you that. So the fact that you can basically get a slightly more traditionally styled stud pattern versus a more aggressive styled stud pattern on the same football boot is actually pretty cool. While they might be marketed as control boots, the GX2 Elite is Speed Boot Light, where in a size 9.5 US, they still fall under the 200 gram mark. And I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that when compared directly to the Vapor 16 Elite, which is about as hardcore a speed boot as you can possibly have, these are only 6 grams lighter than the GX2, effectively making them feel exactly the same in terms of weight when they're on your feet. With the Mercurials also being the main reason why the GX2 isn't quite the no-brainer that it perhaps was a couple months ago, in that once upon a time, this was the only football boot you could get from Nike with their signature grip knit technology. However, with the new Vapor 16 and Superfly 10 Elite, they too feature a grip knit upper, which granted is thinner and has a little bit less of that kind of soft padded feel that you'll get from the Phantoms, which I think the vast majority would still argue that this is the more comfortable boot overall. But from a tech perspective, there's definitely no question that the Mercurial is just that much more interesting between the shaping, the lightweight construction, the aggressive stud pattern, as well as the 3/4 length zoom unit. For the same amount of money, I don't blame anybody, if they're after something with a little bit of extra grip, for picking the Mercs over the GX2. There's no question that when it comes to fit, feel, and overall performance characteristics, that these two boots do offer very different experiences, but if you were kind of thinking about a GX2 because of the extra grip, you'd be doing yourself a disservice to not also consider the Mercurials.